Good evening. How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Saturday night, July 5th, 2025. That's going to be West Coast time here in California. 10:56 p.m. Latest earthquake activity here on the flat scale model Earth is a 5.5 earthquake into our swarming area. In fact, this was preceded a 4.9. So things have begun to pick up here, as I explained earlier in my video here, following this earthquake activity across the eastern edge of the Filipino plate, right? Movement across the western Pacific here, heading off into the area of Japan. And as we can see here in the last hour, a 4.9, that was followed up here 6 minutes later by a 5.5. That's going to be one of the largest earthquakes here in the last 30 days across this area. In fact, looks like it's going to be the second largest earthquake here in this earthquake swarm. But we came into a little lull of activity earlier this morning, but I wasn't expecting that to last too long because of this activity backstream here up along the Mariana Trench. A very deep earthquake earlier this morning with a 4.2. That was 380 miles deep. Some activity previous to that with a 4.8. All that strain here, all that deeper activity. Let me go to the oceanic crust view so you guys can see. All that strain that accumulates here across this area of the Filipino plate transfers due west into the northwest here. That's how the plate dynamics work out here across the planet. Here's the Filipino plate. There's Japan up here. All the arrows pointing to the northwest. When you get movement up here across this area, that puts further strain up there against Japan and the Taiwan area. And that's where we're seeing our elevated activity tonight. Now, look at that time gap. 4.6, 10 o'clock this morning till 10 o'clock at night, right? 12 hours. Well, that is just what the USGS is showing. Let's take a look here at the Japan Meteorological Agency earthquake map. I can guarantee you there's been a lot more in between that 12-hour time span here. So there's our 5.4. That was followed up by a 4, or that was a previous. There was a previous 4.8, but in between those two, there was a 2.9. It looks like this is the last 24 hours of earthquake activity here. Let's go down the list here. The latest is 3.0. 2251. That's probably going to be this earthquake right here. But it does look like things have really started to ramp up here tonight with continuous earthquake activity taking place here with numerous just within the last hour. So here's the fifth, right? The current time period. If you go down the list here, you know, that we're seeing at least 5 to 6 or maybe even more earthquakes each hour. Since the, let's see when it started to really ramp up here. Some of those, we've seen about 10 earthquakes per hour. It does look like things really started to ramp up here. Well, there was quite a bit during the afternoon as well. Maybe about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is going to be my time here. This is the current time, my time, if you look at the most recent earthquake data. But, yeah, we're back to seeing continuous earthquake activity there across this area of Japan. I really still think here that we could see some larger earthquake activity out here. This is an unusual earthquake swarm in an area that is dynamically set up here for mega quake activity. We're talking about above an 8.0. There's major subduction zones here to the south, major subduction zone, the Nankai Trough to the northeast here. And, of course, the Izu Trench over here is something I'm watching as well, because when this applies pressure here, the Pacific plate, when it applies pressure against the Filipino plate, most of the momentum here can transpire across the northwestern edge here of that plate. But also at the same time, we got to watch this area upstream here around the Izu Trench. That's definitely building up some steam as well. And I still think we got potential out here of seeing some larger earthquake activity near term. I know a lot of people, wondering about this prophecy that's being foretold there of a mega quake across Japan. And there's a lot of what ifs and a lot of dates floating around there. The main wording in that prophecy was that something major is going to happen out here in July. of 2025. No specific date, like, July 4th, July 5th. There's been some speculation there about the July 5th time period, but, July. Obviously, things are continuing into the night here with a number of earthquakes there into the southern end of the Nankai Trough. It's definitely quite active out there, let me tell you here. So here's the latest quake. Let me refresh this real quick. 2254. Adjacency of the Tokara Islands. That's in the same region here of the earthquake swarm that we're kind of monitoring. We're definitely monitoring. This isn't something to put on the back burner here. Most of the time here, when we see this earthquake activity like this, it's a sign that there could be an impending bigger earthquake activity. Not only that, we got the volcano activity up here across the surface area of the Japan region. That is due, in fact, because of the subduction that's going on here across the area, right? As we push this Filipino plate underneath this area of the Eurasia plate, right? Eurasia plate up here. Well, you get some volcano activity here across this area. But also at the same time, you build up enough steam and strain here for a mega quake. And all eyes right now, I think, are on Japan. This is a pretty serious deal. Something we got to watch pretty closely here. Now, whether it's going to come up tonight, tomorrow, or in the next week, got to watch it. But I do know here that things are starting to kick up here in the last hour with almost continuous earthquake activity out there across Japan. There's a number of earthquakes there on that seismograph station. This station right here, Kagoshima, it looks like. That's the one that's very close here to the earthquake swarm. So those are probably going to be upper twos that you're seeing on this map, with another one more recently. The Japan Meteorological Agency is a website here that I found pretty much shows all the earthquakes that are taking place out there in the Japan area. USGS nor the EMSC are reporting any of these smaller ones. I just started to pick up the hiccups all of a sudden. But yeah, as you can see here at just at 10 o'clock here, right? Think of this is an enormous amount of earthquake activity that's just kind of kicked up out of the blue. 2200, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, another 10, 20 earthquakes here in the last hour across this area of Japan. So that's actually a major increase. Even into the 9 o'clock hour my time, there was probably a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 earthquakes as well. So we've seen even if we were to go back there to 8 o'clock time period, another 20 earthquakes. So things are really ramping up out there across this area of Japan, more so than at any time there in the past. So watch this area very closely here, folks. We're getting a major uptick here. And if you watched my video this morning, I chatted about how these earthquakes back over here will amplify the conditions across the Nankai Trough in this area across the northwestern edge of the Filipino plate. That's where all the momentum is going, folks. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand where all that stress is building up to. When the Pacific plate moves, watch this area here around the northwestern edge of the Filipino plate. All right, so we'll kind of check back on that here towards the end of this update video. Alaska area, a number of earthquakes out there, including a 4.4 this morning just outside of to the southwest of Anchorage here. The newest earthquake, a couple ones out there. Things have kind of worked their way across this area from north to the west here. This was kind of on the uptick this morning. But things have kind of, moved along here and working their way across Japan once again. Pretty good cluster of earthquake down here across the Fiji Islands area and the Tonga Trench with a number of 4s and 5s out there. Pretty good increase in deep and surface adjustment earthquakes out there. New Zealand, we got, they're pretty quiet down there for now, but I can expect that area to show some elevated earthquake activity here overnight and into tomorrow. That's just the way things kind of move down here. A lot of activity up there right now. The Java Trench has been showing quite a bit of swarming out here. Northern tip of Sumatra as well. That's been a huge area of earthquake activity, not only in the last 24 hours, but in the last couple days. I know the USGS only shown a handful of earthquakes here, but this has been a hot spot, major hot spot of just a lot of earthquakes forming. No main sequence events here in terms of a main magnitude, but got a lot of earthquake activity stirring up out here. A lot of pressurization going on in this area from Japan southward into this region of the Indonesia area, Java Trench. So something is brewing out here, that is for sure. So watch this area. You know, there can be some big quake activity out here across any area. I don't think there's enough strain out there across the Sumatra area for a mega quake because, of course, the 2006, I believe that's when that struck here, the big mega quake there off the Sumatra coast. So I don't think there's enough strain building up out there. But these areas that are very capable, Nankai Trough area south here towards Taiwan, Izu Trench, you know, we got to keep this in mind here. I think something bigger is brewing out here. That's showing. The stress signs are showing big time tonight. All right, let's go ahead and check out California, the Cascadia subduction zone. There was this earthquake out here this morning, 3.3 along the Blanco fracture zone. That normally adds strain down here into these ridges and across the southern end of the Cascadia megathrust area. No newer earthquake activity to note here. Let's check out the tremor map here this evening, see what we have for Cascadia tremor. And that's still absolute zero. Nothing going on there for the Cascadia tremor. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign there. A little bit of earthquake activity there across Mount St. Helens, a couple smaller earthquakes. Also across the western area of Washington, pretty shallow earthquake activity up there towards the northern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Bay Area pretty quiet. A couple of smaller earthquakes out here along the San Andreas Fault. Nothing big going on there across California for now. Southern California is pretty quiet. All the focus right now is pretty much across the western area of the Pacific Plate. Just some minimal typical earthquake activity out here across Southern California for now. Into Yellowstone National Park. Let's go ahead and check this out real quick. We'll bring that up. See if there's anything going on here. This is some thunderstorms out there earlier this afternoon. I was watching that on the map. Those thunderstorms rolling through, producing thunder, wind, rain, and hail, getting things stirred up out there on the seismograph station. So nothing new on that. Someone was asking about what the heck is going on with this seismograph station. Well, that is a defunction seismograph station there, out of whack. It needs to be looked at. Nothing's going on up there far as legit readings there. This is again a malfunction in that seismograph station. Thunderstorms, as noted there across the area this afternoon. And they showed up quite nicely there across all the seismograph stations. That's kind of something I point out quite a bit here because of people wondering what's going on out there across Yellowstone area. So what's going on out here in Kansas? We got ourselves an earthquake swarm out here. A rather rare earthquake swarm out here around Collier. Man, hopefully I didn't slaughter that. If I did, feel free to correct me. We're Bogue, Kansas. We got an unusual amount of earthquake activity out here in a very short amount of time period. This is something you normally don't see out here across this area of Kansas because there's not a whole lot of plate boundaries out here. The U.S. hazard map has it well outside any hazard zones. So to see 6 earthquakes out here, in a 24-hour period, that's rare. So let's see what we got out here for satellite imagery. I don't know if there's any oil fields out here, any pumping operations, maybe natural gas. I don't see it. But it's kind of in a broader area out here, stretching maybe 30 miles or so. Little unusual to see that amount of earthquake activity out here in the 2 range. That's... If we go back here and look at historical models, let me show you guys real quick here. We're just going to go 1.0 and above since 2020. And we're going to draw a little area here on the map around that area of Kansas. And we'll see what... Oops. That's definitely not Kansas way down there, right? Yeah, I wish this was set up a little bit differently. See, Texas, Kansas, maybe right about here. Hello. Hello. What's going on here? Zoom in here, Texas. Let's try this again, I guess. This is going back to the year 2000, so I don't even know if I covered Kansas. Yeah, it looks like I got pretty close. Give it a second. I did click 1.0 and above, so there's probably going to be a few, but just kind of curious. It's outside of Hays here, it looks like. So here's today's activity. They're in the orange. Let's see. It looks like there was some activity here back in January. Like I say, all these are spread out throughout the years, but it's just unusual to see this amount of earthquake activity there in a short amount of time period. 4.6 out there in Kansas 2019, but that's a ways away from this area. Let's see what we got. 2024. Yeah, it looks like there was some back in August as well around this area, including a 3.5. It's just a little rare, right, to see that amount of earthquake activity out there across Kansas area. I know there's the Smoky Hills out there. But yeah, just it kind of caught my eye there with that amount of earthquake activity occurring out in the Kansas area. So things are on the crunch out here. Keep an eye on the New Madrid seismic zone. It's been pretty quiet out here. Little odd earthquake activity across South Carolina this morning with a 2.7 outside of Parksville, north of Augusta. You know, things are they're happening out here, that's for sure. A lot of earthquake activity in various locations here. Puerto Rico Trench quite active as well. Number of 3s and 2s, the latest of 4.0 here across the Dominican Republic. Watch the Puerto Rico Trench. That's got some mega quake potential as well. Covered that in previous videos there. But look at that swarm. That is an incredible swarm stirring up here in the last couple hours around Japan. That is a huge uptick. Some up along the Japan Trench as well. That's showing signs of something happening here soon. Rest of the area down there across South America pretty quiet in terms of any unusual movement. There's an odd quake well south here of South Africa. A 5-pointer is on the plate boundary out there, it looks like. Down here across this area, the Antarctica and the Africa plate. This is a divergent zone, separation of the seafloor. That should potentially stir things up there across the Africa plate, increasing areas up north around the Mediterranean. But like I said, right now things are focused primarily here across Japan. And I tell you what, they are showing for sure. Let's go ahead and check out space weather activity real quick. Got a little bit of something going on here. If you want to call a B8.1 flare something. There are some bright features out there across the eastern limb of the sun. It looks like maybe, just maybe, there may be an active area out there. I don't think it's going to be anything of any noteworthy potential. This is from today here, so I believe it's this area right here. Not a whole lot of deep coloring there, but it is producing some low-grade C-flare activity. But that's about it. Unfortunately, it's not anything of any promising strong solar flares for now. Flare threat, look at this. This is crazy to think that we're that low in the solar department here. That's just absolutely crazy. 75% chance for a C-flare. I think the last time I seen that was during solar minimum. And we're not even into solar minimum right now. We're coming down from solar maximums, but we should still have another year or two of at least some decent flares. But that is not the case right now. No major roars coming in. For now, I did see a little bit of activity stirring up across the Great Lakes area northward into Canada, but really not expecting anything major. Everything's showing quiet conditions out there for now. Far as overnight severe weather, well, we got an enhanced area out there across the Four Corners area, not necessarily down south here, but Montana, Wyoming, across the Dakotas. Got a little 2% chance for some tornado activity, but it looks like the main threat is going to be some damaging wind gusts here overnight. Looks like things are stirring up out there across that area. Go ahead and check out the weather radar out here. Oh, yeah, things are popping. A lot of lightning out there. Good luck sleeping out there on that Saturday night, early Sunday morning, mainly in the South Dakota right now. Out here across the West Coast, well, yeah, it's not looking good. Pretty hot. There's a little tropical development out there south here along the eastern portion of the country, bringing in some rainfall. As far as any major tropical development out there goes, the forecast, I'm really not seeing anything stirring up out there. I know we had some, Texas dealing with a lot of flooding out there and some other issues as well. It's unfortunate to hear about that. But the good news is no tropical systems out there for now in the extended forecast. Seismograph stations all look offline. Let's take a look here at the Japan station once again. I'm a little bit concerned about this, kicking up all out of the blue. Look at these earthquakes here back to back, 2302, 2304, 2306. This is really kicking up unlike any other time here that we've seen in the last couple weeks. This is rapid earthquake activity. I just wish the seismograph stations here would stay online so I can show you guys. There's another one right there. It looks like that's going to be the latest one there, a 3.1 right here. So I'm going to leave this right about here, I think. I don't know why the ANSA station's offline, but probably leave it like right about here or so. But obviously things are stirring up out there across Japan right now. And the potential is increasing. No main quake. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes here over the last couple weeks. A total tally would probably be above 1,000 is what I'm guessing here. I don't know how to get the total number out here, but I guarantee you things have been on the crazy side out there across Japan, with many, many earthquakes out there. And it's just... I firmly believe here that we're going to see something larger happen out there across this area. The question is when. 3.6 earthquake way up into, is that going to be the China area up here? Maybe Mongolia region. Still a lot of pressurization going on here across this area. So we'll continue to watch it, folks. Just be prepared. We'll see you guys back out here tomorrow sometime. I need a little sleep here. So we'll catch you guys out here tomorrow morning. Have a good night. Stay safe. Make sure you guys subscribe, and I would appreciate if you just click that like button. It helps me out a lot there with the YouTube algorithms getting this information out. Have a good one. See you guys out here tomorrow sometime.